I need your help. Please subscribe my channel. Hey everyone, before we jump in, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story like this. I've always been the kind of guy who avoids drama. I prefer handling things quietly, steadily, even if it stings. But that evening in a crowded eatery, I realized sometimes silence can speak far louder than shouting. It was a Friday night, filled with the scent of red wine and the buzz of conversation. My wife, Laura, had organized a cozy dinner to celebrate my new job title. A circle of friends, familiar faces, delicious dishes, and more than a few flutes of bubbly. My best friend, Alex, was sitting beside her. We'd been inseparable since college, friends forged through countless bad decisions and unforgettable adventures. He'd even been my best man. The evening was relaxed until teasing began. Someone joked about how Alex and I had once competed for dates back in the day. I laughed it off. Then Laura, flashing that sly grin she pulls when craving attention, leaned in. "Come on," she said. If Alex had tried anything with me back then, I probably would have gone for it. The table erupted in laughter. Others saw it as harmless fun. I didn't. My chuckle lagged hollow and forced. Alex laughed awkwardly, rubbing the back of his neck. Laura sipped her drink and added, "He's handsome, confident, smooth." Maybe I picked the wrong one. The laughter dimmed. I noticed the subtle awkwardness others share when a joke tips too far. Laura didn't. She was buzzed, yes, but alcohol wasn't the reason. It was deeper, something she'd been testing for months. I'd felt the distance between us growing over the past year. The late-night phone swipes, the empty smiles, the sudden withdrawal when I reached for her hand. I'd convinced myself it was stress, that sometimes love pauses but comes back. That night, I realized affection might have faded for good. Alex tried to lighten the mood. Okay, he said, raising his hands. "Don't drag me into trouble." Laura giggled, but I caught the sting. "Chill out. It's just teasing. Don't be so sensitive." She'd used that term on me before like it were a flaw. I focused on my plate. Laughter bubbled around me, but my hands stayed still. I remember the candlelight softening her features, hiding the sharp edges I'd noticed for months. When the server brought the check, I asked for the bill. Heads turned, puzzled. Laura tilted her head. "So soon? You're not upset, are you?" I offered a measured smile. "No, not upset. Just done." The words sounded unnaturally steady, rehearsed. "What do you mean done?" she pressed, nervous. "You've always been honest with me," I replied. "Yes," she nodded cautiously. "Then I'll be honest too. A joke is only funny when everyone's in on it. Tonight, only one of us was." I stood. The chatter around the table faded. The room fell quiet. Laura's grin disappeared, replaced by confusion, then shame. She muttered something I didn't catch. I laid down the bills to cover the check. "Stay if you like," I said. "Enjoy the evening." Alex parted his lips, then closed them. The rest of the table stayed frozen. I walked out without another word. Outside, the air was sharp, cold enough to strip away any lingering warmth. I paused, letting my pulse slow. My phone vibrated. Laura's name glowing. I ignored it. I inhaled deeply and walked steadily, not rushed, not angry. Sometimes the quietest exit delivers the loudest message. Back at home, I poured a glass of scotch and sank into the sofa in shadow. The night's events replayed in my mind, her tone looping annoyingly. I thought about the man I'd been for a decade. Devoted, patient, reliable. The type who believed that care, if nurtured, lasts forever. But maybe my patience was really just fear of the truth. That evening, I let the fear go. Laura returned just past midnight, easing the door open like a child past bedtime. I stayed in the shadows, scotch glass in hand. She stepped into the living room, shoes tapping softly on the floor, eyes scanning the dim light. "James," she began softly, "are you really upset about earlier?" "It was just teasing." I met her gaze calmly. "You humiliated me in front of our friends. In front of Alex." She exhaled, dropping her bag. "Oh, come on, they were just laughing." "Yes," I said. "Everyone laughed. Except me." She crossed her arms defensively. "You always take things too seriously. Too heavy." I aimed for reason. "You've been withdrawn for months. I thought a little fun might help." "Fun?" I interrupted, my voice sharper. "Teasing about hooking up with my closest friend." Her expression faltered. You know I didn't mean it that way, she said. So what did you mean? I asked softly. I can't tell the difference anymore between jokes and truth. The room thickened with tension. She looked away first. You're overreacting, she murmured. No, I said. I'm being real. That's different. She sighed, muttered, and went to the bedroom. I watched her leave, noting how easily she dismissed me now, not just tonight, but for a long time. Morning came. I packed a bag, just essentials, clothes, computer items, the kind of packing that signals no return. When she came out in her robe, eyes wide. What's going on? Giving you space, I said, zipping the bag. Since I'm apparently too fragile for jokes. She blinked, torn between amusement and tears. You're leaving over this? I looked at her, then at our wedding photo on the wall, two people certain of forever. No, I murmured. I'm leaving over everything that led to this. She stepped closer. So that's it? The end. A hush fell. Then she said softly, You'll be sorry. I nodded. Perhaps. But I'll regret it with self-respect. I stepped out, eyes forward. Those first nights, I stayed at roadside inns across the city. Peaceful, anonymous. I held nothing against Alex. He called several times, apologizing, claiming he didn't know she'd go that far. I stayed silent, uninterested in counseling the chaos she'd left behind. In the stillness, I felt unburdened. I realized how long I'd carried the weight of trying to please someone who had already mentally left. On the fifth night, Laura messaged, I miss you. Talk. I stared at it for a long moment, then deleted it, powered down the phone, and embraced the quiet. I didn't hate her. Anger had faded. I just didn't know the woman she had become, nor the version I thought I knew. A week later, her attorney's email arrived. She sought legal separation. Relief washed over me. That evening, I sat on the inn's deck, city lights twinkling in the distance. I wasn't seeking understanding or validation. I was simply free. Sometimes resolution doesn't come from confrontation. It comes from departure. Months later, I ran into Alex in a cafe. He apologized again, noted he hadn't spoken to Laura since. I told him it was irrelevant. I forgave them, not for their sake but for mine, for peace. As I walked out, he asked quietly, Do you ever miss her? I smiled faintly. No. I miss who I thought she was. The bell jingled behind me. A small closing note to a chapter that had lasted too long. Often, the strongest comeback isn't anger or confrontation. It's silence. Calm. Moving forward while they're still dissecting the past.